The living room, where the family meets to discuss issues, any issue which may be bothering one of the family members. That's what we do each and every Tuesday on WAC 90.1 FM with Ricardo Mitchell and DJ Aaron 868. We have casual conversations on serious topics, from sports to culture, mental health to economics, relationships to life lessons. Join us each and every Tuesday from 7 to 8 p.m. on WAC 90.1 FM. The Living Room, casual conversations on serious topics.
It is currently 6 p.m. here in Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know what time it is where you are, but I'm glad to know you're locked on to the true nation station WACK 90.1 FM, where we are
culture crazy.
First and foremost, let's kick this off as we always do. Must give thanks and praises to the Almighty for granting us the gift of life and seeing another day. No matter what time of day it is, you must always
give thanks.
Secondly, we must say thank you to those that went before us, and we are not just talking about our ancestors, the original inhabitants of Trinidad and Tobago, because we all know, accept, reiterate, and we just say it with chest that Columbus lied, but also to our brother in music, Tony Prescott, where the P this speak stands for
Prodigy.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah. This week we going to acknowledge our father-son team, and the youth man look like he looking to surpass what his father's doing. But the P this week also stands for Poor Panama, who had the entire Gold Cup to win and managed to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. So congratulations to Mexico for winning the Gold Cup final on Sunday night. Sports, Aaron, sports.
Yeah, I want to offer a wise piece of an investment opportunity or an investment means that people should not take. In 2023, we don't buy tickets to day 4 and 5 of test matches that the West Indies will be playing in.
Noted.
Right?
Noted.
Just had to throw that out there. Also, I want to say a special good evening going out to Cricks. I met him on Saturday at a wedding I was the DJ for. Well, it was a real pleasure to meet you, Chris.
I want to actually say a special good evening to Sparkle Diamond, aka Deborah Francis. She proved to be very helpful navigating a situation last week, and I just want to acknowledge all the staff at San Fernando General Hospital for going above and beyond and for making the most out of the lease.
So, understood.
Yeah, man.
Right.
So yeah, we meeting the people, but
yeah, we are stepping out there, and we're not just meeting you, the listeners, through this forum of being on air, but we also meeting all of the places where you all are, and we want to say to those that are doing human service in your communities, you want to say thank you very much for the work that you're doing. Keep striving, even if you don't get the accolades and the recognition that you think you deserve. It will come. Trust and believe. If you don't know the program you're listening to, this is The Living Room with yours truly, DJ Aaron 868. I remind you that culture is my code, alongside my bro with no fro, but a lot of flow.
Ricardo Mitchell, the social sage on the global stage. And Aaron, I warm up already, because I know we have a activity-filled evening.
Yes, we do have an activity-filled evening, but I must let you know that this part of this evening's program was pre-recorded, right? Because you're going to see us in different clothes, in a different scenery, in a different place. We had to go to the place to meet the people that we wanted to talk to today.
This man decided to say that the week that I actually put back on the jersey, so it looked like it's a concurrent recording, But well played, Aaron. I right there with you. It's cool.
Because remember, this week we're gonna interview Sensei Kerry Grant and his son Chida Grant, right? MMA coach and a now turned MMA fighter / grappler / wrestler. He's doing it all. Chida doing it all. And Well, I'll tell you all why when the interview starts, why we chose to have these guests on the program, right? But I also want to shout out to not just Kerry and the Southern Warriors
of
Gym.
mixed martial arts. Yeah.
I also want to shout out Exceptional Health and Fitness because that is where I made this connection.
Yeah, bigger mariachi man.
Yeah, even though he's forgetting when they're planking and all kind of thing.
Remember, you're from Marbella, so you don't know how we just do it on this side, but you can find out.
Marbella is forget people when they're planking.
And on that note, wanna do our intro featuring Vorish.
So let's bring in Vorish, as Ricardo said, and that is the next time you'll see us be in the gym.
Take it away, Vorish.
Welcome to the living room. Welcome to the living room. Welcome to the living room. Welcome to the living room.
So we are here out of the studio, out of our homes, in a different kind of room. I think there's an octagon. This has 8 sides, and we have 4 of us sitting here. As advertised, we have with us Kerry Grant and Cheetah Grant, who they're going to be chilling with us this evening, but we in their space.
That's right.
We where they're supposed to be. That don't mean next week they're going where we're supposed to be.
We'll be bringing them in the living room. No, out of the octagon.
No, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
All right. So, gentlemen, first and foremost, let's ask you the easiest question you're probably going to get here today. We're not asking you where's the scene, or where's the word hummingbird, or where's the just physicist.
Right.
We're asking you, how are you?
We are fantastic. I can speak for myself. Sharon, how are you?
I'm good.
He's good.
Just good?
Yeah, good. And
It's school clothes. Yeah.
well, yeah, I fantastic right now. I fantastic until school open back in September.
No worries, man. As we in the mix now, normally we sit in air-conditioned rooms and we have the comfort of pillows on our laps and breeze blowing in the background. And tonight we inside. The lights are bright. The air is thick with both anticipation and some tension. I've not seen Aaron this nervous in years. So I want to first and foremost thank you guys for inviting us into your living room.
Right. Well, welcome again. Thank you. It's a pleasure having being requested to be on the show, and our doors are always open for everybody, man.
Before we go any further, the reason why we having this interview in the first place, right? We did a couple shows on fatherhood.
Yeah.
And during, somewhere in between that period, I was in the gym and I saw Kerry training Cheetah. I was intimidated. I see this man training and son, and I was like, yeah, if that was my father or my trainer, I was quitting the workout. I was going to join a life of mediocrity. And I was going to say, it's all over. I said, and I saw Cheetah taking the training and also pushing back and doing more than was required during that workout. So I said we had to have an interview to talk about it because we know the movie Coach Carter, but we call in today's episode Coach Father. Alright? So, Cheetah, the first question is for you. You really wanted to get into fighting?
Yes, of course.
Forget that, Forget that being here. You really wanted to get into fighting, or is this just because, well, my dad and it's that's why I'm here?
Yes, of course, because when I was a little kid, I used to see the other fighters train and it influenced me to get in there, and I enjoyed it after. So that's why I'm continuing doing the sport.
And he says little kid, huh?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, he has recently won a fight. So you're on the records now as a victor, as a warrior.
One A fight? Cheetah, tell them a little bit about your record.
I can't even tell her there right now. So many I win. Can't even count.
What you hold any championships currently?
Yes, but I'm not too sure how much. Yes, I do, but I'm not too sure how much. I really been on how many.
I have known Kerry for a long time and in various capacities. And if it's one thing you have you have inherited from your father is your nonchalant confidence, right? do you? I mean, I have a couple wins, a couple championships. Who's counting?
A couple probably been like 5 or 6. And you recently went to Barbados, right?
Yes, I did.
What was that? That was ring beach.
It was beach wrestling. So basically, it had like a circle around, a big circle, and you fight inside the circle
On the beach.
on the beach.
So you scored by pins.
Takedowns. Well, yeah, takedowns.
Takedowns and pins, yeah.
Takedowns.
But the ring was enclosed or
No.
No, it was an
open ring, like a tube. So just picture the ends of this, just open like this, and sand is just beach, you know?
Yeah.
was any were points accredited for push outs or anything along those lines?
Yes.
So it had a bit of sumo influence in it as well then.
Yeah.
A little bit of sumo, you know, a Greco-Roman free wrestling. You know, beach wrestling is actually a very fast-growing sport throughout the world, as well as MMA. And we saw it fit to get involved in it pretty quickly because we live on an island. And what surrounds an island? Sand. So, you know, it's good. Why I'm trying to develop this sport here in Trinidad and Tobago, because you don't need much to train. You just need to find a beach.
Yeah.
You understand? And learn some techniques. And you don't need much. Exactly. You don't need gears. You don't need to go and buy any fancy clothes. You know what I mean? You don't need to go looking for gloves. You know, just a mouth guard and the sand and your body, and that's it.
And just for clarity, there will be no demonstrations done today. We are not embarrassing ourselves.
Not today, but there will be demonstrations. I guarantee it, because I could attest to the fact that you don't need too much to train in terms of, especially when you're starting out, right? You have an interest. The most important thing is your commitment to it.
I agree.
Right?
Commit.
Because my first foray into the Southern Warriors of Mixed Martial Arts was home in Marbella, by the house.
Yeah.
Right? And then there was San Fernando,
Yeah.
right? From upstairs, it was a Liquid Lounge.
Yeah.
By Prince of Wales streets. Yeah.
And then, you know, we see where it's gone and what we managed to take it to. And it's always a pleasure for me to see the growth and to check in and nod and smile and say, well, yeah, Marbella looking good.
Yeah. You know, and I appreciate having you along for the journey. You know, you're one of the few people that would have actually seen where we have started and where we are now, you know, and we haven't ended. You know, the Southern Warriors will continue to grow, we'll continue to evolve, and we're going to continue to strive to be the best, not just regionally, but internationally outside, you know. And that's my goal, and that's a goal we are going to accomplish.
Now, if I may, I learned something very important from Sensei Kerry very early. And there's a little bit of humility and a lot of common sense. Right? I was 100 pounds or so heavier than one or two of the guys he had me training with. And I had me seeing spots and he was like, Mitchell, tap out. And I refused because I was hardened.
Still hard.
Yeah, still hardened, but I have more common sense. And coming out of the session, I tried to catch myself now. He sent me back in because at the end of the day, the lesson I had to learn was when. And so with that now, that's one lesson that I learned very, very early in this experience. You could tell me something that you learn that will stick with you, just being in this space around your dad all this time. What is something that you will always take with you?
Discipline.
He ain't blink, you know.
Discipline.
Blink twice if you're ahead.
I can't blink no, I don't want to blink.
Discipline. Tell me a little bit about this discipline. This means staying out of trouble. It means committing to what you start. What is discipline for you?
Staying. Well, discipline is like a bunch of things to me, to be honest. Discipline, in my ways how to explain discipline, is like having respect. Discipline is like staying out of trouble. Discipline is like, you know, you have something to do, but you have to do it anyways, right? discipline is like, there's so many ways to explain it. I don't know how to explain it, to be honest. So,
Aaron, you know what mashing me up?
What's up?
The way he's smiling when he's talking about discipline, though. It's like you have a love for how many things discipline could mean and how far it could reach. Kerry, what is one thing? Sorry, Sensei. More familiarity, getting ahead of me.
As usual.
Thanks for that, Aaron. So
That's what I'm here for.
you hear that, Kenny? That's what he's here for. But what is something, and you can't use his answer, but what is something that you would like to see your son carry forward? Something that one lesson you would like to see stick with him? And again, you can't use his answer.
Honestly, I would like to see him continue on. That answer he gave was great. And it was the answer I would have chosen myself. Because as he says, discipline covers so many areas, you know. It's holistic, the word in itself. But I would like to see him continue to choose his own path. You know what I mean? People may think because he's my son, you know, and because I do this, that I am pushing him or steering him to do it. I have other boys, and my second son, this is not his thing. He likes track and field, and he comes out to train when he feels like it. Otherwise, he's on the track training with the track and field team. No, at any time have I ever forced him to come here, you know? So the individual needs to make, I would like to see him continue because of what I've instilled in him, the confidence of going out there and living your dreams, doing what you have to do. You know, I as the father, as long as it is right, I will support it. You know what I mean? So if one day he wakes up and he says, Dad, this MMA thing, this martial arts thing is not for me anymore, I will ask the question why, because at the end of the day, we need to make sure as a parent that, you know, they're making the right decision in terms of the reasoning behind them making the decisions, you know, because that's what we are there for. But I may be disappointed, but at the end of the day, it is his decision to make because he has his own life to lead. And regardless of where his life leads him, I am very confident Shadon and my other two sons that I have would lead exemplary lives. They're going to lead positive lives. They're going to lead lives that are going to impact positively on society because this is what I am leaving for them. That is my legacy. You understand? My legacy trailblazers leaves that trail for them to follow. You know, at the end of the day, they're going to follow my lead. They're going to follow my example. And I hold that in high regard as a father, you know, not just to them, but to others that may hold me as a father figure as well. So I have to continue to maintain that status, or that, I don't want to say put me up on a pedestal, but they look at me, they look up at me, you know. So I have to continue to be that guiding person. I'm not a light, that guiding person or that guiding figure that they could say, okay, you know what, Sensei, at some way, even when they're going wrong, I like that little angel sitting on their shoulder. Sensei say, no boy. What would Sensei, you know, they say, what would Jesus do? What would Jesus do? Yes. But also, what would Sensei do? Or what would Sensei say about this? And that is the impact I believe I would have on him as he grows through time. And I'm excited. One of the prayers that I always pray in the morning, and he will tell you, I always ask God, because we pray when we're in the car when I'm dropping them to school, because prayer is a big part of my life. And I would always say, God, please let me live a life where I can see my sons grow to be great men. See, great men in society. Not just good men, but great men in society. And I pray for this every day. That's what I would love to see when I close my eyes, whenever that is. God willing, 99 years from now, my men, I could smile on that day and say, yes, my work is finished. You know, I'll be happy to see my men, my young men, my sons grow to be extraordinary men within society.
I love that. Shadon, you play any other sports? Is doing any other sports, I should say.
Well, not right now, but I want to start football. Just football, to be honest.
So you want by the tongue swim, man.
Yeah, man, normal. I grew up playing multiple sports as I grew. I was on the track team. I played football. I played basketball. I played a little bit of table tennis. I was involved in every other thing.
Karaoke. Oh no, that's not sport. That's not sport.
Karaoke is personal and professional development.
Yes, I'll attest to that. I know some of the questions that we asking are not the questions that we sent to you, right? Yeah. Shadon, how do you balance schoolwork, or how important is it to balance schoolwork and this?
How important it is? Is it important?
Yes, it is important.
Oh.
It is important.
He moved like daddy tell all ask me that.
Yes, it is important.
And how you just do it? How you just do it?
Like how I just balance it.
Yeah, how you just balance?
Go through my life. Alright, so how I used to balance it, well, it will come out this way. So how I used to balance it is like when I come home from school, I'll go home, and then if I have homework, I will do a little bit, and then after in the evening, I'll come in the dojo and train until 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. and then I'll go home and do the rest of my homework. If I don't have homework in the morning, I will go to the gym and train like for an hour and a half, come home, relax a little bit, and then come in the dojo here for the same time, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. And that's why I basically balance. It was like a cycle until I see.
Just now, wait. You come in the gym for an hour and a half in the morning. Carl, you just go in the gym for an hour and a half?
No. And I don't go in the gym. I like to exercise home, in the yard, in the back. In fact, when I first started at Southern Warriors of Mixed Martial Arts back in Marabella, I was doing kickboxing on tires under a mango tree in the backyard. Right? Now, my brother's a trainer, right? A fitness instructor as well. And he has all the weights, he has the ball, he has all the tools, the equipment to train at home if you so choose. Yeah. So for me, it's still something very personal and meditative even to get a workout in. So my challenge is when I do start a training session in the evening, I might take an hour, take a 45 minutes, take an hour and a half as time permits. But to say I start my day with a 90-minute session before I go about my day, to come home and do my homework, to get into a 4-hour session. The time to do that would have been about 25 or 30 years ago. So, no, Aaron, no.
Okay, cool.
Short answer.
Well, that's where the discipline comes in, and I mean that's why he does so well. Chidon training regime is unlike most kids his age. He's only 12 years old. People think he's older than that sometimes, and he only just turned 12. Right. And he really trains hard, and I'm happy to see how he approaches the training. He's a child at the end of the day, and sometimes he would still need that extra push and encouragement. Hey, come on, you need to train, because at the end of the day, he wants the gold medal. And the part of it, training the disciplined mind, and this is what people need to understand. Discipline don't just comes around like that. You have to train the mind, train the body to become disciplined. And it's a daily task, because not every day you're gonna feel to train. You're gonna want to rest, put on the TV, Netflix, and chill. We older ones will feel like going and take a drink, seeing your friends, and so it's a continuous fight against everything else, to keep yourself on the straight and narrow. But when you look at the end goal, man, he told me before we left for Barbados last year, he said, Dad, I really want to win. I don't want to lose. And I said, well, if you want to win, you need to train like a champion. You know what I mean? And you have to train how? Better than the best. Train better than the best. To beat the best, you have to train better than the best. So if the best training 3 hours a day, you need to do 3 hours, 30 minutes, or 4 hours a day in order to beat the best. And and I've adapted that in his mind, in his psyche, and even my other athletes. And it's why, we go out there and we accomplish the things that we have been accomplishing over the years. And it's still, it's still a process.
I do have a question. How prepared are you for when he enters the distraction phase? Because right now the discipline is instilled, but we know the next couple of years, you're going to see the challenges for his attention, the challenges to his discipline. How mentally prepared are you for that?
Very mentally prepared. I'll be honest with you, I know the son I raised and I'm raising, and that comes hand in hand with it. You know what I mean? You can't get away from it. At the end of the day, he's a natural, healthy young male. And, even though we see it when we were in Barbados, he had a groupie, after shit, man, I tell you, straight up, the shit, and was the star boy in Barbados. All these little girls, I can't believe where they came from. Everybody want to take a photograph with him, they're just surrounding him, and he just standing there like,
You can ask for my number.
You see, they asking for his number. You see what I mean? Like, I didn't know that. Yeah, and he was 11 years old at the time, So, I mean, even though in his school, you would have that, but he understands, again, if this is the goal that you want, you have to, there's a time and place for everything. And I'm happy for the home that I grew up in. My parents never told me you can't go out on dates, you can't have friends and so on, you can't lie and all. And I would not be that parent that say, okay, you have to stringently, can't go out online, you can't do this, you can't do that. No, you have to give them a little leeway too, because at the end of the day, he is developing and social skills is part of it, and yeah, man, I think it's not something that I would have too much of a problem with.
Yeah. So, where do you draw the line between being his coach and being his father?
That's easy for me. As soon as we walk in the dojo, I'm no longer his father, and he knows that. He trains, he's just another athlete in here. There is no favoritism at all whatsoever. And once we have a regime that we have to follow, even when we're home, daddy goes out the window too then as well. Now I'm your coach, even at home. Because if he has a time to wake up and train, I'm no longer his father in that zone. I'm his coach. Because exactly what I would do for my other athletes, I would do to him. Right. Get up and train. My athletes will tell you, I will be calling them 3-4 o'clock in the morning when it's time to get up to go train if we have to go and run. It's the same thing. They'll be like, God, Sensei. No, God, Sensei. This is what it is. You know what I mean? So outside of that, I'm his father. He will get the hugs and the kisses from me just like any other dad should do with their children. He knows how much I care about them, my other sons as well. I tell them I love them daily. Sometimes several times for the day, he will tell you that. I always give him a hug. I say, I love you, son. He would say, Daddy, I love you as well. And that's the way I take it. But once we get into that zone of training, it's no longer Daddy. He now calls me Sensei. He is not allowed to call me Dad in here. It's Sensei. Because there's no favoritism.
But has he ever come home and said, Daddy, Sensei give him a trouble?
Nah, but sometimes you will see it in his mood, and I think sometimes he may want me to be a little more sympathetic to it, and I cannot be. What I would do is explain to him why I have to be this way with you, and so he understands that I'm not picking on him. But there are times when I know if there is something I need to teach, the gravity of it, or how important it is, and how emotionally connected I am to that particular situation, I would not coach him. I would send him to one of the other coaches. Right. So you have to know that, because I know, let's just say there is something, me thinking that he should grasp now. I don't ever want that to get the better of him, because now that starts to break away and take away from the whole training session, because now he's emotionally disturbed, so I would take a step back, and I will have either Coach Sion or Coach Royal or Coach Anthony take over, and they will coach him, and I will just take a step back. So I know when to just break away and let them deal with that particular situation.
And Sharon, has the coaching that you have received from your dad made you want to, at the later stages in your life, because remember, he's just a child, you're really young still, does it make you want to become a coach later on in life?
Of course, yes. I don't mind, to be honest, because I help assist my sensei or my father, it's just said, or it could be any way around. I help him, I assist him in the junior class from 3 to not from 3 to 12.
That's the age group, 3 to 12.
3 to 12, right? So I assist them in helping them and showing them the skills I learned. So when I show them, I help them a lot and they will pick it up faster.
Right. Yeah. Because I was wondering about that. Now I know some of the guys who you referring to as coach. I remember when these were milk in the face, teenagers and maybe on the brink of teenager.
Yes.
And I guess that also helped prepare you for the types of fatherhood that have to come into coaching as well.
Yeah.
Because you would have navigated the teenage and the puberty and the young adolescence and that type of thing before.
Yes.
Because Sensei Sion himself, I knew him since he was 16. Today he's 33 years old. You know, so I've been doing this thing a long time. You know, I've been coaching MMA for 19 years.
You're not spring chicken anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, so some of these guys I would have known when they're teenagers, you know, like Keith Allen and Rowan Henry and these guys, and I knew them when they were teenagers. Now these guys are in their 50s, you know, so.
You know why this is in my heart?
Yeah.
I think the last day I was in the gym with Kerry, he slid a waiver across the table because it was an opportunity for my first tournament.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, I am in my early 30s and I have a job. I could not take that next step. And I ain't gonna lie, it mashed me up bad. That it was a case of something that I wanted to do and I had not done before, that when I finally got the chance to do it, it was the time for that had passed. The time to take those particular risks, I could not comfortably take them. So I am pleased to see that at 10, 11, 12, 3, 4, 5, I see there are young ladies, there are little girls, there are mature people coming in and being able to take chances and opportunities. I shouldn't use the term chance. Take opportunities that I could not in good conscience take before.
And I would tell you, you were ready. I would never allow anybody to compete if I didn't think they were ready. It was a grappling match. You would not worry about anybody striking you to the face. And you were ready. You were actually pretty good at the time.
This was a money maker too, so you know that might have had something to do with it. They can't go any club or how, but I'm thank you for that. And I want to point something out to you. I'm telling you, I would have tell you off camera, but this is the first time we talking. There are things that I learned with some difficulty because you know your father, you know your sensei. He draws clean lines and you pick which side of them you're on. You're ordinary or you're not ordinary, right? You're going with the crowd or you're leading. There are things that I learned just from being in that space where when there were conflicts, let me call it that. And again, you're going to get older, you're going to line, you're going to knock about. And you will need to learn when to not engage a situation. You will need to learn when it's to de-escalate. You will need to learn when it's not even your business. And that type of decision making comes from discipline and competence. Because when you know what you're capable of doing, you have to measure. And people are going to gauge you differently because they know what you're capable of doing. So I just want to tell you that, yes, it might be tough in a lot of ways, a lot of the time, but you will be very grateful for it when you see how bad a situation could get. So in terms of the fatherhood element, I'm telling you, big to big, as the young people say, big to big, it is important. I have seen how bad it can get when you put tools in somebody's hands and you don't give them the temperament to use it properly. Right, so I want to commend you for that, and I want to encourage you. There will be times where you wouldn't like it, but you will look back on it and be grateful for it. I can guarantee you that.
And you won't believe it. Thank you, and I'm grateful for you bringing up that point, because there are times throughout children's schooling in primary school where, you know, there would have been guys that would have tried to test him. You know, and I'm happy to say that he didn't inflict what he could have inflicted on them, you know.
I'm not gonna. That was actually one of the off-topic questions I wanted to ask her.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask Chid, not you. But I'm glad to say it. So let me ask Chid first before you
Go ahead,
answer.
go ahead.
Chid, in school, anybody ever decide to say, here we're going on? I hear he could fight. Let me try to see how good he could fight.
But to be honest, yes, but I didn't really should study them. But it's not one time I got in a fight, and then there was only once. I only got into a fight once,
Right.
and then after, next thing you know, my father had to be calling the principal office. All kind of thing.
Sure, that would have feel
But just wait, that guy was way bigger than me. He was real. Yeah, he had size. He was like 100 pounds or something, and I was like this small little fella. I was like 7 or 8 at the time.
Yeah. Shaden dropped him, basically. So I got called into the school, and I was asked the question, and I told him straight. I said, listen, my son is trained, and he's trained to do what he's, to defend himself, and they couldn't believe even the principal and the dean at the time asked me off to the side details of the school because they want to send their kids on there. Because they couldn't believe when you're looking at Shaden and the other boy's parents sitting there. You're looking at this little 7-year-old nasty little boy. And this big guy, I think at the time he could have been in standard 4 going into standard 5 or standard 5 of the year. And Shaden was just in 2nd year or going into standard 1. And Shaden had the fella on the floor, he mopped the floor with the guy, And, that was the only instance. And they could call me in school anytime. And now he's going into secondary school. And, I told him straight up. And I will say this, and I will say it boldly and proudly. I teach my child and my children and my students combative skills. And those skills will be used when called upon. I am not going to allow you see this thing about turn the other cheek, and I'm going to say it plainly. That's a dangerous thing to teach your children in this time because one lash could put them out of commission. Right? I saw a video where a guy punched a boy somewhere up in town. He hit the boy one, and the fellow was on the ground out cold. And then the rest of the guys, because he's out cold, started to stomp on top of him.
But that was not an event in Queen's Park.
No, this was actually in school. This was a school. They were leaving his school. And the guy, confronting the guy. They stood chatting for against. The guy was being very aggressive conversation. And then he threw a punch. And he knocked the guy out cold on the floor. And the guy is on the ground cold. The student, defenseless. And they proceeded to stomp on the guy. That's the boy that they put in the coma and they stomp on his head and the man was out. You know what I mean? A situation like that, wouldn't wait for them to hit him. And I'm being straight up. He has been instructed. I will leave it there. And any child that trains with me, you get in a situation like that, sometimes you have to do things first to get yourself out of it. Because turning your back and walking away is also not a good idea sometimes. So as you rightfully said, you have to know when and how. So I've played a lot of situations out with him and show him how to de-escalate, diffuse, and know when to walk away cautiously. You don't turn your back and walk away, but you take steps back, keep walking backwards, looking at you, keeping your eye on the surrounding on the situation until you're at a safe distance where you could probably, properly disengage. But at the end of the day, we live in an age now where these kids are so aggressive, so dangerous. You have to prepare your kids to be the same. And he needs to be as violent just as they.
I want to emphasize now, you already know long time, I'm a stickler for definitions. When they say the meek shall inherit the earth, I want to remind people again that meek does not mean weak.
Exactly.
Meek does not mean incompetent. Meek does not mean incapable. What meek means is that you are fully capable of activating the response that will be necessary, but you have the wisdom to know when, if, and how to do so.
Exactly.
The meek is the person who can, but knows when not to. It is not about surrendering to the circumstance.
No.
I am a firm believer that sometimes the way to de-escalate a situation is to unplug the whole thing.
Correct.
So
Just like what just happened with the lights.
like just when I was editing that out, though, nobody would have known. But yes, the lights came off and I didn't check the plug. All right, my operator is behind me. He's more up here. He's more up. But yeah, I'm. It is unfortunate that this is a necessary skill set and mindset to have, not just with your kids, not just with your students, but we have to be mindful of the fact that everybody didn't come up the way we might have come up. People motivated by different things. So we have to be capable of dancing with whoever in that particular party.
Now, Chadon, if someone wants to get involved in the sport, right, a child, what would you tell anybody who's younger than you who wants to get involved in wrestling, grappling, or MMA? Yeah, what would you tell them? As somebody who has a wealth of experience, who win championships, who win enough fights that they can't count how much you win. What would you tell them as a piece of advice as to what was important in coming in here, into the octagon that we in here?
To be honest, first thing you have to do, I will say, you have to actually, you want to know if you want to do the sport or not. Because this sport is not easy. Yes, when you train hard, you just fight easy. Because when you train hard, you have accomplished things and it does achieve your goals. This, you have to put your mind to the sport. The training, like for Barbados, it wasn't easy. It was hard. And what I won a gold medal for Trinidad and Tobago. You have to put your mind to it. So what I will tell the folks out there, right? When you want to, if you're coming, you should know if you want to do the sport or not, right? Because it wouldn't be easy. I'm telling you, it wouldn't be easy. But you will achieve the goals if you want.
If you put in the work.
If you put in the work.
I like the answer. I don't think it had any other better answer than that, because I sit down here and I'm watching the gloves, I'm watching the equipment, and it's sentiment after we finish this interview to go and throw on our gloves and go on a punching bag. No, we would not. But the part about it for me, about this sport, that I still can't wrap my head around, you see, taking that hit.
Yeah.
And nobody was doing grappling before here. And he now went to take for his foreign MMA, I think a weekend ago. Taking that hit, because you're not lashing or striking anybody in grappling. How was it to actually take that contact?
Well, to be honest, last week, to be honest, I didn't actually get a fight. So technically what happened, I did an exhibition match. So basically, I didn't, because the opponent I was supposed to fight, he was from Tobago, I believe, and he was like 13, 14. So he was like 20 pounds over me, and he came in like with weight. Overweight. He couldn't cut it. So I didn't get a fight because I was too light and I couldn't fight. They didn't allow me to fight. So I did an exhibition match.
But you are now training for kickboxing, so it still applies. So how does it feel training to take the hit? Is what you want to know.
Oh, well, taking hit.
Getting hit. How does it feel getting hit?
To be honest, it does feel. It does feel a kind of way, because when it gets hit, sometimes it's something you just tell it to go hit back, right? But to get hit, sometimes you have to control. It's hurt, but you have to get accustomed to it. You'll get accustomed to it after a while.
Okay, and Kerry, the training with him. Yeah, but you ever train with him? Like,
I do strike training, strike pad work with him and so on. His training partner Rennie, and sometimes he trains with Sensei Sion and Kadeen and Royal. He takes the hit, and actually right now that's part of the things that we are focusing on now that he's moving into the MMA, is to learn to take the hit and brush it off. Because like you rightfully said, sometimes when you get hit, your first immediate reaction is to hit back. And that is not necessarily the correct response you want when you're fighting. You have to be technical. But sometimes your opponent is drawing you out. He wants you to react that way. And you have to stay. This is where now you would hear coaches telling their fighters, stay in your game, fight your fight. Don't let them throw you off. You understand? So taking the hit is all part of the process, and there is a process called body conditioning where we would line them up. So getting hit is part of the process. You have to be able to take the hit.
Since you was training here, you ever went through that body conditioning?
So, let me explain something to you, right? There's a reason that I am such a huge supporter and fan of these Southern Warriors of mixed martial arts. Because you know what fans do? Stay one side and cool the room. I am not getting in that melee again. And as much as I love it, it really takes a certain temperament and a certain mindset, that training to not let what your body is telling you to do take control of what happens next.
Correct. So the fight or flight or freeze response. Well, this scenario, if you get hit, the first instinct is to fight. But sometimes freezing and holding.
I wouldn't use it with freeze, assess. Yeah, assess the situation. I could get hit and I will assess that as a fighter instinctively. We would learn, we would know how to respond to it because we're doing this daily. So I would know what level of force to use, in other words, if to use any at all. Because sometimes it could be an accident. And, sometimes, you're laying down. And there was one time I was on the bed and I think I was sleeping and one of them just passed and touched me and I flew up like in that response, because sometimes it's there, it's in you. Don't walk up on a guy that is well trained. I said, with sneaking up on a fighter is one of the worst things you could do because that initial response, if you meet a fighter and you prank them like that and they freeze, we probably just in it for the fun or for the glamour or for the gills. A trained guy, you do something like that, he is going to respond in a manner that may cause you harm. You know what I mean? So, because we're always ready, so again, but it's all about as you grow into the sport and you gain experience, there's that split second or fraction of a second where you would assess the danger, the level of danger, and you will respond to suit.
I want to point out something now. As much as you enjoy school being closed, I know that when you're training with the Southern Warriors, that school is kind of always in session. I specifically remember people running around the dojo with bags because they forget the notebook home. This was back in this was before your time actually. Yeah, correct. And
What is it?
listen, I can't remember who it was, and they didn't work with a notebook because we were learning about things like points of contact, and when I realized that you are knockout from shifting your jaw to the side, and that's just the types of information that is required to properly do this thing. Do you still do that type of classroom work?
Yes, I do, but not these days, honestly. I was telling them just the other day, I was telling Sensei, and I'm going to start back doing it. For the last year, remember, we were concentrating on getting the numbers back in the dojo. After COVID, because before COVID, Southern Warriors, we had probably close to about 120, 150 members, and when after COVID, we started up with probably 5, 10, and we just started growing, and now we are back to a point where we probably have about 80 active members right now after COVID, and we'll continue to build. So now we're at a stage where I can re-engage that type of classroom setting and start them teaching them properly about the biology and the physiology of the body and how the body responds to certain things, and the physics as well, because fighting has a lot of physics in it, and people understand that, body mechanics, so
I don't feel like
and these are things I enjoy teaching for people who will properly understand what we do to break the body, how we break the body and what you need to know to break the body. It will sound like, wow, they're teaching how to break the body, but that's basically what you're doing when you're fighting.
You want to be able to think.
Correct.
You want to be able to make a decision, because I'm telling you plain, parents, the last thing you want to hear when your child gets in trouble is that they weren't thinking.
Correct.
You're not coming here, you're not learning how to fight, you're learning.
You're learning. Yeah, this is a life skill that he will carry for the rest of his life. He will pass on to his kids, he'll pass on to his friends, his neighbors. He may have girlfriends as he grows older. He'll pass on the knowledge, and as you rightfully say, you are learning.
I'm telling you, the reason I'm excited, I was down on the cross.
Yeah.
This was years ago.
Yeah.
I had not trained in quite a while, but again, you work it into your workout routines and that type of thing. And some younger trainees, having clearly imbibed some alcohol, they were a melee began, and this guy slapped his girlfriend, and he slapped her like that. That was
A slap.
a full bellas. Right. And I am by the cart, and while I'm thinking to myself, somebody should do something, it's almost as if I teleport across the road and had disengaged the young man from that particular encounter. Right. So I talking to this youth man now, and I'm telling him, hey, relax yourself. It could get worse. I'm not threatening you, but you're making a bad call. Use a police, sir. I said, no, I just trying to make sure that this thing done before police reach. Now, as seeing people coming towards you, I'm not leaving you in a position where you cannot defend yourself. But if I let you go, do not turn on me. You stop struggling. I released, disengaged, and I went and I picked back up my burger and I went my way. Right. What I'm saying is that there are things that you learn, because what you're looking at now is you don't want to put somebody in more trouble. Trying to help them. Right. I'm not telling people to run in there and save. And
Don't be a hero.
don't be a hero, but you're going to be in situations where you're going to have to make decisions. And you're learning from the right person what are the decisions to make and not make. Right. I want to continue to encourage you guys, continue developing all the relationship, because I love the fact that you could say you tell your son several times a day. Your sons.
Yeah, I tell them every day, all the time.
Okay. We have a generation that we know our fathers love us. But we're not sure how many times we hear them say it.
Now, Carlo, we are getting perilously close to the end of tonight's program. So I have two things to ask again. Kerry, tell us quickly about the gym and what you'll have coming.
Oh, thanks. Well, guys, this is the Southern Warriors of Mixed Martial Arts. We are located in Marabella, obliquely opposite the Marabella Police Station. Can't miss it. Big red building next to Value Optical. There's a big sign across the building that says Pandora Pet Store. It's the sign everybody seems to make out first. Our sign is to the side, and we are in the basement of that building. All right, so I'm not advertising for Pandora, but I'm letting you all know that's the mark that the landmark that everybody makes out. All right, and we are right there. What we have coming up, Trinidad and Tobago, is very important. We have a fun day planned at the Vista Bella Regional Complex on the 30th of July 2023. This is a full barbecue and fun day event. The barbecue is at $65. It's a fundraising event, so you want you all to understand that we are trying to raise funds to get our athletes to the Pan American Championships in Colombia. That would be hosted from the 7th of August to the 14th of August. We have guys that would have competed and qualified to compete at the IMAF Mixed Martial Arts Pan American Championship. So this is a fundraising event, and we would like all of Trinidad and Tobago to come out and support our young mixed martial art athletes that have been doing really well throughout the past year. It's going to have a whole bunch of fun games to do. We have Bouncy Castle. We have all sorts of fun.
Yeah, hoopla. Say again. Yeah, hoopla.
I feel we will get the hoopla just for you. So we're going to be doing a lot. We're going to have rock climbing. We're also going to have a karaoke competition. So we're gonna have a karaoke competition. So all my karaoke folks, you all can come on down. Again, it's the Vista Bella Regional Complex. It's gonna be from 11:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. The karaoke is gonna start at 6 to 9. It's 3 hours. Come on down, guys. It's a fundraising event. You have to pay small fee of $10 to sing. But like I said, it's to raise funds for the athletes. You know what I mean? It's going to be a chit system. You come to the door, you pay your chits, and you'll be able to use the chits to go to all the game stations. So we're going to have like game stations where we're going to have a FIFA competition. We're going to probably have an all-fours competition. We're going to have musical chairs, probably chess, you know, stuff like that throughout the course of the day. Probably about 12 to 15 games. And we're just going to have a full day of fun, fellowship, and fundraising to assist in our local homegrown athletes from the Southern Warriors of Mixed Martial Arts.
Shaden, they fighting in that tournament?
Of course. Of course. I fight in all kind of tournaments. If I hear about a tournament, I get prepared for it and fight in it.
Right.
You hear the man say first, so you getting prepared.
You get prepared, most importantly. And that's the important thing. Shaden, the last question for you. What are you most looking forward to in this sport?
To becoming a champion. To becoming for this sport, I always wanted to reach the UFC, and I believe I can reach the UFC. So
Get that bag.
I believe I could reach in the UFC.
Now, guys, first and foremost, I want to thank you for taking time out of training, because when we got here, Shaden was training.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he had to ask the sensei for permission. Not his dad, the sensei for permission to leave the training. So thank you very much for taking the time out of your training to spend with us here.
No problem.
Kerry, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to allow us to come into the dojo anytime and have this interview. Again, there'll be no demonstrations. I'm stressing that we are not embarrassing ourselves at all. Anything before we close off, Cardo?
Yeah, I want y'all to share your socials with us.
Okay. Well, guys, you can follow the Southern Warriors at Southern_Warriors on IG. That's our handle. Here it's again, Southern_Warriors on Instagram. You can follow us on Facebook as well, Southern Warriors of Mixed Martial Arts on Facebook. You can also follow me, Sensei Kerry Grant, just Kerry Grant on Facebook as well.
You're not gonna tell them about the YouTube station where we could find your music.
No, we'll leave that for another segment.
Well, I don't think Shaden on social media.
Yes, he is, actually.
Yeah, it's on WhatsApp, on IG.
You on IG?
Yeah.
What's the IG name?
I don't know, I just carry my, I just make a
It's straight on.
Yeah.
I think so. That's what I saw. Yes.
Yeah.
You on TikTok?
Yeah. Yeah. I watch TikTok. So.
Yeah, I used to post on TikTok. TikTok could run mini documentaries, depending on how you, depending on what you're looking for and how you curate that space.
Yeah.
It is very helpful, very informative stuff
I
sometimes.
actually joined TikTok recently.
Ah boy.
Wait,
I'm still not on TikTok, guys.
I am not dancing. I only joined TikTok to support someone's account.
So you're following them then?
Yeah, that's the only reason.
Oh.
I joined TikTok.
I will tell her good night one time as we here now.
No. Right, so guys, Cardo, close it off now.
Yo, again, thanks a lot for doing this, Kerry. And I don't just mean Sensei. Not just this episode. I mean, for putting in the work.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Like I said, I've been doing this for 19 years now, and I've never, ever regretted it.
Yeah. Yes. I know your dad a long time. The first time we almost met it could have changed the course of history, because some partners called my night and stayed by they were at a house party. and Kerry Grant was giving them trouble.
Yeah.
I say, who? I say, look, leave me.
It would not have ended well.
Yeah, it would not end well. Marvel, I was looking for that.
Oh, like that.
Yeah. And thank God for small mercies. But what I'm telling you, your dad is quite a guy. And you're developing into quite a young man yourself. So you keep it up. God bless your endeavors going forward. And I am Ricardo Mitchell, the social stage and the global stage. Thank you for joining us in the living room. Remember, guys, our glass is opaque. We don't know how much time remains, so whatever you're doing, be good and stay safe. Aaron?
This is your Shirley DJ Aaron 868. I remind you that culture is my code. And I also tell you that love is the currency. So spend some today. Let somebody know that you love them. Just like how Kerry does let his sons know that he loves them.
All the time.
All right?
And guys, this is Sensei Kerry Grant and Shaden Grant. And we are the Southern Warriors of Mixed Martial Arts. And we are not what, guys? Ordinary people.
Listen, as well as up next to the big band, guys.